or you can even choose filters. Okay, so we have quite a number of filters, and it's free. You see, there's a lot of filters that you can use. But my advice to you guys, if it's in design, don't go overboard with the filters. You know, try to make it as simple as possible, because keep it simple. Right. So if you go overboard, nanti people would be anyway. So and the next that you can see is also we have the transform button. Okay, so transform button allows you to flip or rotate the images that you want. You can even reduce the opacity if you want, right? And you can even flip it like this. Okay. Or let's say, for example, if you want it to be, if you want to crop, you can crop it here on for this image lah. Other than that, you can also use the fade in and fade out, but the fade in and fade out only uses for 2 seconds. So you can fade in for 2 seconds, or you can fade out for 2 seconds, depending on how you want to do this lah. Okay. So other than that, if you I would also tell you that every time you click on each of the elements on the timeline, this top navigation would change. For instance, if I click clip 1 MP3, you probably notice the GUI changes for clip, and then the properties for the clip actually changes. So for clip 1, we have the audio control, so you can literally manipulate its audio from 100% to 0%. And you can also fade in it or fade out it, but you can only do it for 2 seconds of fade in or fade out. Okay, I think that's enough for a simple work. Okay, so anyway, so let's move on. So now what I'm gonna do is that, okay, let's hear to the sound of our clip ini, right? So let's do a little bit of editing.
Visual organization is quite important in the study of visual communication. Visual organization.
Okay, now you probably notice that if I start off with suddenly
organization
principles of visual organization like this, it will be a little bit boring, correct? Not? So what you can do is that you can add text in front of this, meaning to say that an introduction. So how are we going to do that? It's simple. So you can just click text here, right? And you can pick and choose from the intros or the outros that's readily available in the library. So let's say if I want to use this intro, right, I can just add this to the timeline, and it will automatically create another line for the timeline, and you can edit it anywhere you want. So how are you going to do it? Just click on the intros that you want. Let's say I want to choose this one, so I'm adding this to my timeline. So I can click this, and my properties changes for my text, right? So I can click my text, and then I can change the headline. Let's say, for example, if I want to say visual organization, right? I can change my source or the type of font that I have. You can choose any type of font that you want, right? And then after that, you can test it out. So usually what we're gonna do is that here, according to the timeline. So if you have the timeline in it parallel with each other, it doesn't make sense, right? So what you need to do is that you probably want to click on your image, and then you want to drag it to give it a little bit of space for my intro, like that. So it becomes
organization is quite
right?
important in the study of visual communication.
Okay, so now as you do it, I'm sure after this you become terror, no worries. All right. So setakat ini, am I going too fast? Do we have any question?
So far so good.
So far so good. Anybody else got any problem? No problem? Okay? Okay, okay. Okay, Gus. Okay, now let's continue lah. Only have half an hour before question and answer. Okay, now after that, right, you can even add any of the medias that you wanted, right? So let's hear back to our video.
Visual organization is quite important in the study of visual communication. Visual organization makes sure that the
Okay, so therefore I am going to just reduce this a little bit and go back, click back our media, right?
in the
And I can start, if you want, you can start adding any pictures that you want lah.
It's quite important in the study of visual communication. Organization make sure that the elements that are included in the design would be the best representation in communicating the intended goal for the design. Visual organization can be incorporated in as well as digital media.
Okay. I think I accidentally forgot to include another 2 image in the tutorial kit, but never mind. We can just this is just a tutorial, right? So anyway, you can just drag any pictures just to try it. Let's say for example, now second clip.
Design. Visual organization can be incorporated in print media as well as digital media. Visual organization can also be incorporated.
Okay. Visual organization can be incorporated in print or, okay, that one, I can use this image. Okay, so this is the print or digital image. So I'm going to add this to the timeline. So according to
goal for the design, visual organization can be incorporated in print media as well as digital media.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this a little bit up until it starts with the print and design, right? So now, if you notice, one thing about this is that when I click my backspace in it,
visual organization can be incorporated.
Okay, so you will probably notice there are no transition in between my first image and my second image, right? So now we can add transition to it. It adds a little bit of spice to our video lah, right? So what we can do is that in between these 2 images, we can click transition. So once you click transition, you probably notice here in our library we have many types of transition. So we have the crossfade transition, the cross blur transition. You can try any one of them. Okay, the wipe out, the wipe down, the fade through, whatever. So I'm going to use the crossfade, for instance. So now, one thing about transition, if you want to use transition, make sure you choose only one type of transition and you want to use that transition for all. You cannot choose sekejap you want to use cross blur and then after that you want to use wipe down. After that, no, there will be no continuation in your design. So what you want to do is that if you want to choose one transition, just choose one transition and keep on using it afterwards. Just use one type of transition. So I am just going to click this crossfade. I'm going to drag this and just put it in between our okay, so I'm just drag and just put it in between our image. So this is what's going to happen after I put a transition.
Visual organization can be incorporated.
Okay. So the transition helps it to add smoothness to our video lah. Setakat ni, do you have any problem? No problem? No? Okay.
So far, so good.
Okay. So therefore, let's continue with our video.
As well as digital media. Visual organization can also be incorporated in design related to fashion.
Okay. So now when we go into the fashion punya dialogue, so we want to add fashion. So I'm going to go and click back our media button, right? And I'm going to go and add fashion images to the timeline. So there is a fashion image on the timeline. So I'm going to click that, right?
Visual organization can also be incorporated in design related to fashion.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this a little bit, right?
Can also be incorporated in design related fashion.
All right. So now again, I'm gonna use transition, crossfade. I'm gonna drop it in between my image.